Is there a resource, book, or podcast, or something that you turn to get any business advice?
I actually like to speak more live with people. So the latest thing I do is that I free up 1 or 2 hours a month or a week, depending on my calendar, that I really meet with people. So for example, next week, Monday, I'm meeting with someone, and I really believe in mentoring, that I learn from younger people, and I have an executive that's my mentor, so 2 ways. So I prefer to sit down and have a coffee. I used to be extremely digital, and but I think it's also so different when you actually can, look someone in the eyes, get better sense of that person.
And then a last question to all of you, because we're going to have to eventually end the panel. I'm so sorry, guys. There were so many cool questions as well. I really like this question. Do you envision, to all 3 of you, do you envision more initiatives in 2020 on the line of more investors interested in startups founded by females? For example, right now, Funds Right has recently been launched. Yeah, that's the question. Do you envision more initiatives that are in line with investing more into female startups?
Well, I really like that question. So I'm in 2 funds, and in one fund I have 6 other males, and in the other fund I have 3 other males. And so one fund had invested, they were the founding investor in my company in 2010, so they do invest in females. But this Fund Right initiative was started because only 1% of the entire VC money that's invested is invested in females. 1%, which was crazy. And their initiative and thought is that we want to bring that to 35%. Yeah. So really get the investors to invest in 35% of females. But on both sides, my own investment teams were saying, we're not going to sign this, because what happens if we see this really cool team with a fantastic technology and they're 2 males? Then we can't invest. And we can't and we want to be able to invest in the best technologies. Yeah. And what if there are no females? How are we going to invest and get to our 35%? I don't want to invest in companies that are not, not the top. So partially it's true. I mean, even if you look at the University of Technology, there's just not 50-50 equality in the males and females. So partially it's true that there's less offer of females. But on the other hand, exactly that is the problem. The fact that people have the bias and they say, well, I want to invest in the top 10. What you perceive as the top 10 comes through your own bias. We all have bias. I have bias too. Yeah. Everybody has bias. You can't go around. And the problem with bias is that you're unconscious of it. So to push a little towards it is very important. So I'm really happy that I think last week I was in a panel with Constantine, who is very fanatical about about the Fund Right initiative, and he literally gave me his badge, which is the Fund Right sign, and he said, "Give this to them, and if they have any other thing, I will jump on a call with them." And so I went back and I was saying, okay, you're going to have a personal explanation to give to Constantine if we're not going to do this, to both of them. And both said, okay, we'll do it. So I am currently filing both of the funds to the Fund Right initiatives. Wow. I'm really happy that that's happening. But I do see the hurdles that funds have to overcome. And it'll take some time, but I'm really happy to see that that is changing.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So, what was the question again?
Yes. Do you envision more initiatives in 2020 where investors are interested in startups founded by females?
Yeah, and yes. I think there are some technology companies here as well. And I think not specific from venture capitalists, but also from, let's say, technology companies. There are more and more initiatives coming in to encourage female to start a company. Yeah. There are 2 things here, because you mentioned, the hurdles that venture capitalists need to overcome. And that's a big one, because there's a lot of bias there as well. But also, if you look at women startups, female startups that will pitch, I think, in a minute, just be bold and go out there and take some risk. Because, you know what, I think most startup pitches from women, they are well thought through. Mm-hmm. They are very well backed up, and why isn't it working for the most investors. So there is something there that we need to focus on as well. So it's two sides.
Nathalie?
From a corporate perspective, I think since there's more gender equality also in the decision-making process, because it's, you know, getting more of a balance, so that might also get more of a pool strategy in terms of that there also will be a prerequisite that more female like you, you know, you're a great example, that that women that are beyond those innovations or startups will be chosen. So I see it also as a reflection of society, and of course in corporates that's something that still needs to grow, but I think that will be helpful in general.
If you like this episode, you can check out our most recent one here, and if you haven't already, make sure you click here to subscribe and see the next one. But if you're interested in more tips and tricks, then make sure to join our Facebook group where you can find thousands of like-minded people and you get direct access and support to any business question from the entire startup funding event team.